Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So happy Monday everybody. I hope everybody's having a great start to their week. If you guys are watching me for the first time, welcome. This is where we do talk about everything regarding FC Barcelona, from transfer news to player analysis to game analysis and everything in between. If you are a Barcelona fan and you love to follow what's currently going on in the world of FC Barcelona, this will be the channel for you. So please, if you want to support this YouTube channel, like this video and also subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. So let's get on with the big news. We are going to be discussing exactly what has been going on with Lamine Yamal in the past 48 hours, because it has been said that he has encountered an injury, which we are going to be assessing in this video. And later in this video, we're also going to be talking about Barcelona's brand new midfield. And no, Barcelona did not sign any new midfielders. I'm simply just talking about Barcelona having their players back finally, because over the past few years, we have been suffering with so many injuries, we could hardly put the team together. But for the first time in a very long time, in about a week from now, Hansi Flick will be having all of his midfielders available, and we are going to be analyzing what each one of those midfielders can bring to the squad. But first, let's talk about Lamine Yamal, because it has been said, according to FC Barcelona, they have stated tests have carried out this morning on the first team player Lamine Yamal, and they have confirmed that he has a left hamstring strain. His return to training will be determined by his recovery time. It has also been said, according to Javi Miguel, that Hansi Flick is considering on leaving out Lamine Yamal for the game against Sevilla as a precaution, and thus have him 100% ready for the game against Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. Now, I know this may seem a little scary at first, but here's the thing. I believe that Barcelona do feel obligated to report this, because they do not want to put out any statement where he is not injured at all, and then it did seem like, Barcelona were lying and Lamine Yamal was lying. Because if they reported that Lamine Yamal is okay, he's not injured, then maybe there could be like some frustrations going on the Spanish national team side, and they probably could be thinking, oh wait, could they be lying? Is Lamine Yamal lying? Is Barcelona lying? Barcelona are simply just feeling obligated to report something about Lamine Yamal, because at the end of the day, I don't even think Yamal is injured at all, because it does say he has a hamstring strain. It's not a hamstring injury. Those are two very different things. Maybe the worst thing that Yamal has right now is an overload, but that's basically it. Even Lamine Yamal, when he did arrive at the airport, he did state, I'm fine and let's get back to work. So I don't think that there is anything going on with Yamal. It is simply just Barcelona feeling obligated to just say something, that Yamal is encountering just something, but it is really nothing. But here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, he felt fatigue and he felt overloaded. And these are the type of events that does frustrate me a little, because when you look at the whole season, we have like a total of 3 to 4 international breaks. Like, I think that these players in the end are being overplayed, because we have to worry about the season with Barcelona and then talk about the international breaks. It's too many games in just a span of 9 months. And then we don't even get a rest after 9 months, because we have to go to the international tournaments. And so it's crazy, right? To see that someone like me, knowing that these players are getting overworked, it surprises me that De La Fuente does not see eye to eye with us, because I think that all of us can agree that these players are being overworked, overplayed. Like, bro, does De La Fuente not see how Pedri got overworked 2 years ago by playing 70 games? Did he not see how Gavi got injured during a friendly match and got an ACL injury? This is something that I just don't see why De La Fuente does not understand. And here's the thing, Luis De La Fuente wanted to take a stance on this and say that this whole thing about Lamine Yamal being overworked or fatigued is not his fault. This is what he said. If you have Lamine Yamal in 70 matches, I only have him once a month. I don't think the responsibility for resting him or not lies with the national team. It should fall on those who spend the most time with him. And that is the thing that just does not make any sense to me. It does not really matter if you gave the player 70 games or if you did not. What matters is he played 70 games, and that's it. It's not about whether this guy gave him 70 games or this guy gave him 70 games. What matters the most is whether he played 70 games or not. When you truly analyze that and you have some self-reflection, you'll make better decisions. Because look, have you not learned, going back to the Pedri case, but have you not learned what happened to Pedri after he played 70 games? It did not matter whether Spain used him more or Barcelona used him more. He played 70 games in the end, and look what happened with him. He was getting injuries every 2 to 3 months. As a matter of fact, Barcelona have the right to use their players as much as they want, because they pay the players. They are the ones, right? The club are the ones that pay the players. They train the players. They feed the players. They give them their homes. If Barcelona want to use any of their players for more than 70 games in one season, they have a right to do that. Barcelona should never feel obligated to rest one of their players, whether it's Pedri, Yamal, Rafinha. I can go for whoever, just for the sake of them getting rested for a international game. No, that does not make any sense. And this is what Luis De La Fuente is trying to take a stance on. And what's even crazier is that you want to use these players during Nation League matches. Like, bro, who the hell watches Nations League? Who the hell even knew about the Nations League 5 years ago? I don't even think that existed. It's a competition that I don't even think players even care about. Like, maybe yes, the Euro qualifiers, I would understand that, but the Nations League or international friendlies, Barcelona should not be sending any of their players to competitions like this. And yes, even if it is just a fatigue, it does not matter because fatigue can lead towards very serious injuries. If the players feel fatigue, if they feel tired, rest them at Barcelona. So here's the thing. Lamine's path right now is for him to improve every day because he is nowhere near close to his ceiling. I know that he may seem like an unstoppable player right now, but trust me, he is only at 40% of what he could do. I strongly believe he will reach his peak in about 5 to 6 years from today. That is a very long time from now. And so for now, we have to make sure that he is 100% healthy every day. Iniesta even said this yesterday. The challenge is that everything around Yamal must support him so that his growth continues every year. Every year, he will have to surpass himself. And so we have to give Yamal the opportunity and the best position to succeed. And one way to not do that is by overplaying him because that is what leads towards injuries. And when you get injuries, your career in a way does get thrown away. Unfortunately, that's currently what it's looking like for Hansi Flick. Thank God it did not happen to Pedri. Pedri has came back and is playing his best football. We'll see what happens to Gavi because he will be returning very soon. But let's not even start with Lamine Yamal, please. Let's make sure that he never gets fatigued, never feels overworked. We rest him, we recover him, and every time he is on the field, he's very effective. So since we did speak about Gavi, this is where I do want to transition towards the next phase of this video and speak about the players that will be returning. So first of all, Gavi, we all know, will be returning. It has been said that he has gotten the okay to play again. He's ready. Hansi Flick now has to manage the process with the doctors and the trainers. So Gavi will for sure feature in that match against Sevilla. As for players like Dani Olmo, Fabrizio Romano has stated that his green light is imminent. So we should expect to see Dani Olmo in the squad list, maybe against either Bayern or Real Madrid. I don't necessarily believe that he'll be in the game against Sevilla. And then as for Fermin Lopez, he's currently training with the group. So in about 2 more weeks or less, Fermin Lopez will be in the squad list. But the player that is most likely going to be arriving first, it is Gavi. So now that we are going to be having all of our midfielders available within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I want to revolve this conversation around Gavi, Pedri, Frenkie, Casado, and Fermin Lopez. Barcelona's midfield is back. I'm telling you right now. And Hansi Flick is going to have so much to work with. I'm not going to include Dani Olmo in this conversation. Yes, his return is going to be very important, but I don't put him in the same category as Casado, Fermin Lopez, Frenkie, Pedri, and Gavi because Olmo is just too versatile. He can play on the left wing, right wing, as a central attacking midfielder, maybe even as a number 9. And I just think that when he is 100% healthy, he'll be a starter for sure. He'll be in the number 10 position. And I believe that most of the questions do revolve around the double pivot position. Who starts in those 2 roles? I want to discuss the roles and how Hansi Flick is going to be getting the best out of his midfielders. Because for the first time since Sergio Busquets left, I finally do feel reassurance within the midfield. There were so many problems in the past years, especially with Xavi having to deal with Oriol Romeu in the middle of the pitch. There were no solutions towards our central defensive midfield position. We even had to move towards a midfield of Gundogan, Frenkie, and Pedri, a midfield that did seem very unbalanced. Then came the injuries, and then we had to use Andreas Christensen in the midfield. Fermin Lopez also had to step up when Pedri sometimes got injured. There was never really any stability in the past year and a half. We had players and multiple players out of position. But with these players like Gavi, Pedri, Frenkie, Casado, and Fermin Lopez all returning at once, and with Hansi Flick's very direct approach in football and style of play, it should be very interesting to see how things do turn out. So first of all, I do want to speak about Gavi. Gavi to me will be playing as a CDM at Barcelona. His ball retention is exceptional. His ability to control the ball and ability to shield the ball from other players is something that we do need at the back. His passing range is also amazing. I think that is one of his most underestimated skill sets. He's also very press resistant. He has agility and great dribbling skills that allows him to escape high pressing situations. And of course, he has that work rate, right? So like he has high energy, high aggressiveness, very intense. He can definitely intercept or tackle any player that he does see in the middle of the pitch. Gavi is a Hansi Flick type of player. Now the question is, how long is it going to take him for him to reach his maximum level? Because it is currently taking Frenkie some time. It is also taking Ansu Fati some time to get into the tempo of the game. I do think that one of the things that Gavi will need to improve on to really solidify his position in the midfield is his defensive positioning, which requires so much intelligence. This is something that Bernal is really good at. Unfortunately, he has gone through an ACL injury, but Gavi, if he can master positioning and where to exactly be in any given situation, he'll be a monster. Moving on towards Pedri. I think that with Pedri for sure, he will be a starter. Like you cannot bench Pedri at all. Pedri has also highlighted that he has worked much harder under Hansi Flick. He has increased his intensity and we have seen that. And because Pedri has been so intense, so much more aggressive and running so much, Hansi Flick also came out with the idea of him coming out around the 65th to 70th minute. He does not want to see Pedri play a full 90-minute match because I think that he's taking the approach of seeing him much more effective for a shorter amount of time than just playing for a full 90 minutes and not that effective. His endurance has greatly increased, which is why he has been able to press so much and maintain the game tempo when he does have the ball. We have seen Pedri as the number 10 before through this season and also as a left central midfielder and be paired with either Casado or sometimes Bernal through the season, and even Eric Garcia. Pedri has always been there, and so having his abilities to control the game's tempo, distribute the ball effectively, and to contribute from an offensive and defensive standpoint, it makes him pivotal. He has also taken taken some sort of leadership role. We have seen him talk much more on the pitch, telling players what to do, telling players to either step back or step in. He does have a voice. And so to me, I do see him as a starter. Now moving on towards Frenkie de Jong. Now this is where I think that things get a little tricky, because I know that many do not like Frenkie de Jong right now because, you know, in the past 4 to 5 years, it has been a disappointment. But I am very optimistic on what Frenkie could do this season, because Hansi Flick, yes, has failed in some certain things through the season, maybe rotations, maybe some tactical adjustments, which is very normal for every coach, and especially within their first season. But one of the things that he has not failed in is improving every player. And I believe that Frenkie will be just another player that will improve. One of the things that I believe he needs to improve on for sure, if we do want to see the best out of Frenkie, is to be more consistent on his defensive duties. Like, he is excellent on the ball, dribbling through players, making key passes, but when we have any counterattacks going against us, or when we do need more defensive coverage, Frenkie de Jong needs to be there 100% of the time. He cannot just be a player that is only good on the ball. He needs to be a better tackler, a better interceptor, a better 1v1 dueler. And yes, his physicality needs to get much better. And look, he's like 27 years old or 26 years old. At this point, given the context of Barcelona's average player age, this guy is like almost an uncle. Like, he's pretty old compared to the other players that is around him. You know, if you compare Frenkie's age to Yamal or Kubarsi or Balde, Frenkie de Jong is somebody that's considered mature, somebody who is seasoned, somebody who is more experienced. I want him to take that leadership role. Like, step up, please. Speak to the players. Speak for yourself. When there's something going on the pitch that does not go your way, speak to the ref. Have a bigger voice. You're no longer considered as a baby in this team. Like, maybe, yes, you were considered as a baby 5 years ago back in 2019, and you had players like Messi or Suarez speak for you, but now it is much different. 5 years later, you are somebody who has been named as the captain. So speak up, play more aggressive, become the animal. And once you do have those things correct, when you are much better defensively, of course, we want to see Frenkie at his best on the ball. One of the ways Frenkie loves to provide his value is by putting Barcelona in numerical advantages, meaning that when you have, like, let's say for example, 2 players on top of Frenkie de Jong can get away from those 2 players and go up to the pitch and make it a 5 versus 4 situation where you have Frenkie de Jong joining the attack with Yamal, Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Pedri against the 4 defenders. Frenkie is very good at that, finding those numerical advantages. That is when, and I promise you guys, when we are going to be appreciating Frenkie de Jong the most, and I hope that he does that. Now let's move on towards Casado. Casado, to me, he is going to be a starter against Sevilla. Let's make that very clear. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Casado does get benched eventually. Not now, but eventually, for either Gavi or Frenkie. We never know. The competition here is going to be very intense. But Casado, so far, he does seem unbenchable. For now, we'll see how the other players do perform. But Casado has been amazing as a CDM. He did first step up for the injury of Marc Bernal earlier this season, and Casado has really seized that opportunity to become a undisputed starter for the squad. Like, for example, in the match against Monaco, which was Barcelona's first defeat of the season, he did showcase his individual talent. He won the most defensive duels in that game. He also had a great pass completion rate, which was a total of 88%, and made 7 passes into the final third. He also played a key role towards Lamine Yamal scoring the goal against Monaco. So you can see that he provides great defensive utility and great offensive utility. He has been so consistent. He has earned a call up to the Spanish under-21 squad earlier this year, and that comes after not being called up after like 5 years, which goes to show he has improved under Hansi Flick. Casado has also mentioned that Flick has given him great advice and great confidence. Also, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the amount of times Casado goes up to Hansi Flick to speak about tactics and to see what's currently going wrong, what can he do better, he does that a lot, at least 2 to 3 times per match, which is something very similar to what Mascherano did at his time at Barcelona, always speaking to the coach mid-game. And so to me, I don't really see any weaknesses on Casado. He just needs to continue to play his own game and just watch his career skyrocket. And so now moving on towards Fermin Lopez, the one midfielder that I think has the most capability to score. I would even say, right, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I would even say that Fermin Lopez should find some chances to play on the right wing position only for the sake of Lamine Yamal getting some rest through the season. That is how good Fermin Lopez is in terms of scoring goals and just being a goal threat in the box. I cannot wait to see what type of plans Hansi Flick does have for Fermin Lopez. He had a breakout performance last season, by the way, right? Because he came from 3rd division or 2nd division, got into Xavi's Barcelona, became a starter due to the fact that we had so many injuries, but he has impressed. He never backed down. In the game against Shakhtar last year in the Champions League, he scored and was named man of the match. And then he scored his first La Liga goal against Mallorca, equalizing the game, which ended 2-2. And from there, it was history, ending the season with 11 goals. I strongly believe this season under Hansi, he'll score even more. I do see Fermin Lopez in the same category of Casado and Gavi in terms of defensive intensity with high pressing and 100% focus in the game. And what is the most dangerous about Fermin Lopez out of all is that he's a great shot taker. Better than Gavi, better than Pedri, better than Frenkie, and better than Casado. Fermin Lopez has great shooting capabilities. And so to me, I do see Fermin Lopez playing maybe sometimes, yes, on the right wing position, but mostly on the central attacking midfield position and to compete for a spot with Dani Olmo. I don't necessarily see Fermin Lopez as a starter immediately, especially, but we'll see. Because because the competition for him is going to be massive. With Dani Olmo, Pedri also being there, maybe sometimes taking on the number 10 position. We'll see. But Fermin Lopez will be getting his chances. Hansi Flick is a huge fan of rotating players, making sure that Pedri, for example, never plays 90 minutes. Dani Olmo, somebody who is considered an injury prone, maybe he's going to be protecting him. It's going to allow for Fermin Lopez to gain some sort of opportunities. And when he does, trust me, Fermin Lopez will make it count. So that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.